Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Amina and I'd absolutely love it if you could subscribe and join the family on this channel. Today I'm starting something a bit different, something very new that I have done on this channel before, and it is a monthly favourites video. What I'm going to be doing is reviewing the things that I've enjoyed this month but that are not items, so not necessarily tangible things. I might include one or two if I have something that I think I really love this month, but I'm going to be talking about apps that I've enjoyed, books that I've enjoyed reading, places that I've enjoyed traveling, podcasts that I've enjoyed listening to. I'm the kind of person that's always discovering lots of different things on a daily basis through what I do on YouTube or through social media or through friends. I'm constantly discovering things. Leave the timestamps down below for the different categories that I'm going to be. The first category of things that I've enjoyed this month are books, and here are the 3 books that I've read in this month. I've done really well this month. I usually only get through 1 book a month, if that. The first one is this one, The 4-Hour Work Week. Now I do want to do a whole video about this, so I'm not really going to go into much depth, but if you are someone that wants to change, I don't want to say wants to change your mindset, but if you're someone that wants to kind of think about your work and think about the idea of what work is a bit differently, this is really, really good, especially if you're thinking of starting your own business or trying to even help yourself in your career, so maybe get a pay rise or work from home a bit more. This definitely helps you so much, and I love the fact that Tim Ferriss really gives detail about the exact products that he uses, the apps he used, the services that he used, and I've even downloaded a few things that he suggested and I found them really, really useful. I am someone who is running a little bit of a small business and also wants to start one, so this has been so useful for me, especially during the planning stages. And my husband actually bought this book for me and it's been really, really useful, and I love just been scribbling in the book, and I definitely want to read it again. It's one of those books that you just want to read again and again and again to pick out different bits of information. It is quite information heavy, and I'm the kind of person that I'm not sure how I feel about these sort of get rich quick help books, but this isn't one of them. It's not one of those get rich quick help books. It's kind of a book that helps you change the way that you think about your everyday life and change the way that you think about running a business. And like I said, if you are thinking about running one, I highly recommend this book. Second book is this one, Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race. Again, I think this book is very different to the kind of books I usually read. It's quite eye-opening, very honest. It really does put into words the feelings of being a black British person in the UK, a sort of understanding the social structures of today in terms of the UK, the British history, in terms of race and inequality. I think in school in the UK we're taught a lot about Martin Luther King and Black History Month to do with Rosa Parks and all that, and I think it's Malcolm X, and I think it's great obviously to know these people, but there's a lot of history here in the UK that we are not taught in school and that we don't know about, and the first chapter really breaks it down. The first chapter is quite long actually, it's like 56 pages, and it literally breaks down everything from the start to slavery, colonization, everything. And I think it's, I just think it's really, really interesting to read, and it opens my eye. It definitely opened my eye about a lot of things that have happened in the UK recently, like Brexit, and the links between that and sort of race and immigration, which isn't necessarily always very obvious. And the last book is this one. So again, very different, as you can see, the kind of books that I read. I don't really have a type of book that I read all the time, but this one is called This Is Going to Hurt, and it's a diary of a junior doctor. So in the UK, medical doctors graduate after 5 or 6 years, and then they go into work as a junior doctor. So the first 2 years they do like a foundation 1 and 2 training, and then they're like still junior doctors until they become consultants. So it is tough. It is tough being a junior doctor. Someone that might want to do medicine, I think this book will scare you off. But it's very real, and I think it's very honest, and I think it's really important to have those conversations about the reality of being a doctor in the UK and the reality of the fact that you do not have a life, you do not get paid enough, you are doing a job that most people cannot do, and yeah, it is quite funny as well. There's a lot of funny anecdotes, but then it also ends in a very sad way. I'm not going to spoil it for you. If you're someone that struggles reading books, this one is a very easy read because it is in a kind of diary memoir format. So sometimes the memoirs can be, as you can see here, it's like 4 or 5 lines, whereas other memoirs can be a few pages. So it's a very quick read. It's like speaking to someone, talking to a friend. Yeah, so I definitely, again, I borrowed this book from the library, which I highly recommend you guys to do, because I don't see the point of owning this book So for me personally, another favourite of this month is going to the library. I've borrowed about 5 or 6 books this month from the library. You get 3 weeks initially, and then you can renew it, I think, up to 3 times. So you do get like a good 2 months to read. And if you are, I think a good thing about borrowing from the library is that you actually have to read the books, because otherwise you've wasted your time borrowing it, going to collect it, going to have to return it back. I think that's actually what's forced me to read more this month as well, knowing that I have to actually give the books back after 3. Okay, so moving on to podcasts. So in terms of podcasts, there are 2 podcasts that I've really been enjoying this month. Very different podcasts. The first one is the Receipts podcast, and this is a podcast of 3 young ladies from London, and they literally just chat about everything and anything. So sometimes it's topical, sometimes it is sort of advice, so people send them emails about relationships or life or whatever it is, and they'll just give their personal opinions. And I love the fact that the 3 ladies are very different. One will give advice and say this, and the other one will say something else, and I love that conversation. It's like being with friends. I usually put it on when I'm in the shower, and I just like put that on, and then I get out and then do the dishes or whatever, and I'm still listening to it. And I feel like it's a kind of podcast where it's not an effort to listen to it. It's very engaging. It's very chatty, and yeah, it's just something that you can kind of let loose and listen to. The second podcast is the Tim Ferris Show. So I thought this was appropriate because obviously, so this book is actually written by Timothy Ferris, or Tim Ferris is the name that he goes by, and there is a Tim Ferris Show, which is a podcast, and it's one of those podcasts, again, very easy to listen to, but he has a number of guests, mentors, entrepreneurs, businessmen, like loads of different kinds of people that he speaks to and asks them for their advice about certain things, or just ask them about their life and how they end up where they are. And I've only listened to, I think, 2 podcasts this month, so not that many. They are quite long, so I've only listened to 2 this month, but the ones that I did listen to, I absolutely loved them. But the last podcast he just posted, which I haven't listened to by the way, is about how to cram 2 months of learning into 1 day. And he really speaks to people that have such prominent positions in their business or their society or in their field, and the advice that they give is invaluable, absolutely invaluable. Again, if you're someone that doesn't necessarily want to have a business but just wants to maybe design your life a little bit differently, design your mindset a bit differently, and it can help you in so many different ways, even if you're not necessarily in a job or not a student or not in a career, but just having a mindset that really motivates you towards being the best self that you can and making the most of every situation. Moving on to apps, so 2 apps that I've really enjoyed are, the first one is Evernote, so I'm just opening on my phone right now. It's like an elephant logo. I do a lot of my work on my laptop and also on my phone, so whenever I'm in like meetings or I'm at events or whatever, I've got my phone, and then at home I'm using my laptop. So I needed something that would allow me to sync my notes on both systems. I used to just use Apple Notes, and that was what I used to use, but I feel like it was just very kind of immature and didn't really give me these systems, like the filing systems that I wanted. Whereas Evernote, I feel like gives me that, and I'm able to sort of file my information in different folders. So I've got a YouTube folder, I've got a work folder, I've got different folders that allow me to kind of put my notes and information into the appropriate folders. And the thing that I love about it is that when I do have a website that I want to save, instead of bookmarking it and just having a massive list of bookmarks, I can actually bookmark it onto Evernote in the appropriate folder, and it keeps the link that I saved. So even if the link expires or the link the page changes, I'm still able to save that information. And yeah, I absolutely love it. I think it's a great tool that I've loved. Moving on to TV, I don't want to say I've loved this because it's not the right word, but I watched When They See Us the other day. No, not the other day actually, it was like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I watched it, and I watched the whole thing in like, I think, 1 sitting. And it was just so heartbreaking, and I recommend people to watch it just because I think it's important for us to understand what goes on and what is still going on in society, especially in America and the UK, like just anywhere really, just understanding that how the system works. You know, like I said, I hate to say that I enjoyed it because it's not supposed to be entertaining, it's not supposed to be something that you enjoy and just walk away from. These are people's lives. What makes us sad is not even the fact that that happened, it's the fact that that is one story that we know of, and there's probably hundreds of others that we don't know of today. There are probably people that are still in prison right now paying for a crime that they did not commit. And yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's for me, I don't watch that much TV, to be honest. I usually put stuff on my phone like YouTube or like radio or podcast. I don't really watch as much TV, but that was, I think everyone was talking about it and I thought, let me kind of watch it. This is like my other section, so could be places that I've been. So the first thing is, this is amazing, an escape room, but a VR escape room, so a virtual reality escape room. Now it's so hard for me to explain and describe it unless you actually have done it before. The closest thing I would say is, imagine a video game. Imagine you in the video game. That's literally the closest that I can explain it. So you had to work with your team member to figure out some clues and whatever. And I've been to one escape room before, but obviously that was reality, not virtual reality. But this was on another level, So if you guys are ever thinking about something to do, something a bit different, the one I went to was behind East London Mosque, so in Whitechapel. I think it's close to Aldgate Station as well. So yeah, it's not too far from central London, so if you're thinking about something to do, then I highly... Okay, so that's the end of my favourite video. I really hope that you enjoyed this. Also, if you guys have any recommendations of anything that you want to tell me about, anything that you guys enjoy and you want to share it with me, then I would love for you to send them down below. So do leave me a comment and let me know if there's anything that you enjoy. See you, bye.